לא יודע אם זה נ"מ.
אתה נכנס באוברטונים כאן.
פלפל מוץ. אוקיי.
סגור. נכנס באוברטונים כאן. תלך.
Good evening. I am Amos Lapidot, President of the Israeli Air Force Association. I would like to welcome all of you, those who are in New York, in London, and in Tel Aviv. I thank you for participating and being a part of the Israeli Air Force family.
The Israeli Air Force is turning 50 years young this coming year. Wherever I go, I meet with commanders, and I hear and I can feel the strong appreciation that these commanders have for the Israeli Air Force. Every year we are producing ex-officers and ex-professional pilots and soldiers who are retiring from the Air Force, join together and forming the Air Force Association. I encourage you to help them to accomplish the valuable project which is a center for the Air Force and a center mainly for the Air Force soldiers. So thank you all, especially the Nemanim. See you soon in Israel.
The Air Force is more than just the sum of its aircraft technology, pilots, navigators, and engineers. Its essence is people, with a history, a present, and a future. In a few moments, we will auction certain items relating to some of the most remarkable events in Israel's and its Air Force's extraordinary history. Your generous bids are of vital importance to the continuation of excellence that we are honoring today. But before we begin, let's look at this short video.
This is the Israel Air Force Museum in Beersheba. Here, aircraft from every hard-earned moment in Israel's fragile history stand in silent memory of battles fought, prayers answered, lives lost, and victories won. Testament to man's unwillingness to love one another, and to the ongoing history of conflict, defending our right to exist. This is the challenge Israel faces every day, every night, every moment. And unfortunately, that's how it's been since the very beginning. On October 23, 1947, 6 months before the State of Israel came into existence, a plan for the formation of a Jewish Air Force was presented to the Haganah. On November the 10th, realizing that without an Air Force, Israel would not survive, and only 19 days before the United Nations voted, the go-ahead was given. It started with 8 small planes and a handful of pilots. On May the 16th, 1948, the Secretary-General of the Arab League, Azam Pasha, issued a warning that the coming war will be a war of extermination and a momentous massacre which will be spoken of like the Mongolian massacres and the Crusades. On May the 18th, Independence Day, the combined Arab forces of 5 Arab nations attacked with one goal, the annihilation of the infant state. Surrounded by enemies on 3 sides and the sea behind it, Israel fought back. The rest, thank God, is history. But what was it way back then, under-equipped, under-financed, and under-trained, that helped Israel's meager Air Force to be victorious?
The reason of the Israeli Air Force, and not only the Israeli Air Force, the State of Israel, success to survive in the War of Independence was, you can focus it in one word, no alternative. Simply no alternative situation. The 6 Days War was won by dedication, by simplicity of planning, and by a very, very strong belief that it could be done.
What actually happened in Gardaka, it was the first day of the 6 Day War. And my first mission was to Inshas. This is next to Cairo with 32 MiG-21s on the ground. The second one was to Abu Sweir on the Delt. And then about 11 o'clock, after I landed back in the squadron, I have seen on the board that we are going to attack Gardaka. I led this mission with 4 Mirages. The moment we pulled, immediately we absorbed unbelievable ground-to-air fire. And then I realized that they can look at you all the time when you fly, because no trees, no big buildings, nothing. This is plateau. And they are sitting or standing behind the machine guns, and the cannons can follow you. And when you pull again, immediately they start shooting at you. And then I have decided to continue because it was so important for us to destroy Gardaca. Our attack was that we bombed the 1/3 and the 2/3 of the runway, blocked the runway, and then executed 3 passes of strafing by our 2 3mm cannon of the Mirage. And the last strafing pass, when I pull out, my number 4 shouted at me, "A MiG behind you." I look back and saw a MiG behind me about 250 meters firing at me. And we conducted a on the deck from 0 to, let's say, 2,000 feet, unbelievable dogfight. I shot down this one. Then I saw my number 2, following another MiG. He shot down this MiG. I was closing on the 3rd one, and I shot down this MiG who tried to shoot my number 2. How many times we found ourselves 2 Mirages far away over Cairo with no ammunition, short in fuel against 8 or 7 or 9 MiGs. And we have done it. Why? Because our belief, because we knew that we don't have any other choice, because we knew that otherwise, we'll be thrown to the sea, etc., etc., etc.
There was pressure on Menachem Begin to do it now in the summer of '81 or maybe never. And he knew that this reactor, unlike the Iraqis said, was not a research reactor, but was a reactor that was planned to make uranium for atomic bomb. When we penetrated the Iraqi territory, we flew in lower altitude, 300 feet first and then 200 feet. We were very surprised to see that on our radar scopes that there are no airplanes above Baghdad. And other surprising thing is that in our electronic warning system, there was nothing also. We knew that there was SA-3, SA-2, SA-6 SAM sites all around the reactor and Baghdad area, but none of them reacted. They have at least 15 minutes or 20 minutes that they could see us on their radars before we popped up for the strike. It's a lot of time in aerial combat, 15 or 20 minutes. They could intercept us very easily, but there was nothing. It was very easy to identify the target. That reactor had a big wall around it, and this wall helped us to see the target very, very clearly. We dove at about 35 degrees, at 0.9 Mach. The moment of truth, as we call it, is as you aim, you get the people as close as possible to the dome, but not on the dome, but about a few feet short of the dome, so to let the bomb penetrate the ground and get to the core of the reactor. It's not that the first formation had to open the way for the bombs of the others. One could see the